They see you coming before you even speak. The air shifts. A silence that isn't peace, but fear. Not yours, theirs. You walk into a room, and without saying a word, the atmosphere thickens like a storm about to break. You think it's tension or anxiety, but it's not. It's the spiritual world reacting to your presence. And the ones trembling, they're not people, they're demons. They know who you are. You don't wear a crown. You don't carry a staff. You might not even believe you're chosen. But in the unseen world, your name echoes with fire. You were marked the moment you were born, not for destruction, but for dominion. Not for defeat, but for authority. And that authority terrifies every single demon that's ever looked at you. This is why your life's been war since you were a child. Why sleep never came easily. Why nightmares chased you more than dreams. Why people turned cold for no reason. Why isolation found you like a shadow. Because darkness always notices when the light walks in. You've been hunted because of your rank in the spirit. You weren't just meant to survive. You were meant to rule. Not over people, but over principalities. The darkness understood this long before you did. So it sent distractions, doubts, delays, heartbreak after heartbreak, friends who betrayed, family who misunderstood, all to convince you that you were ordinary, all to shake your identity before you ever stepped into it. But here's the truth they don't want you to realize. You carry authority that can shift atmospheres. You carry light that exposes hidden things. You carry a voice that shakes spiritual foundations. You carry a presence that breaks demonic assignments just by showing up. Every time you speak truth, lies lose their power. Every time you walk in purity, corruption loses ground. Every time you choose love over hate, the kingdom of darkness trembles, and they know it. That's why the attack was never about your weaknesses. It was always about your strength. The enemy didn't come after you because you were weak, but because you were powerful, even when you didn't know it. Because from the moment you were born, you became a threat. Some of you are wondering why your relationships never last, why people leave, why you feel misunderstood and alone. It's not because you're broken. It's because your light makes spirits squirm, and sometimes those spirits live in people too wounded to face truth. It's because your very presence disturbs what's unclean. You walk in, and what's hidden starts surfacing. Not because you're judging, but because your light reveals. Demons hate what they can't control, and they can't control you. You've tried to shrink to fit in. You've tried to stay quiet to avoid the attacks. You've dulled your own brilliance so others wouldn't feel insecure. But no more. That shrinking wasn't humility, it was spiritual sabotage. You don't serve darkness by pretending you're not who God says you are. You were not created to dim your light for the comfort of demons. You were created to walk boldly, speak with authority, and move with fire. Not because you're better than anyone, but because you were sent. You carry heaven's mandate. You walk in spiritual authority. And the second you realize that, everything changes. They fear your awakening, because once you wake up to who you are, they can't touch you the same way. Once you stop entertaining their lies, their weapons stop working. Once you understand your identity, your presence becomes warfare. When you walk into a room, heaven walks in too, and the darkness. It scrambles, it plots, it panics. Not because you're loud, not because you shout, but because you carry something that was forged in fire and shaped in wilderness. Your authority didn't come from applause. It came from pain, from loneliness, from seasons of silence where God was training you in secret. Every tear you cried built your rank. Every heartbreak sharpened your discernment. Every time you didn't quit, you grew in power. You see, authority doesn't come from popularity. It comes from obedience, from surrender, from walking away from what was easy and choosing what was holy. That's why demons fear you, because you said yes to the call, even when it cost you everything. And they know what that yes means. It means you're unstoppable. This is why the enemy sent depression, isolation, rejection, to convince you that your life has no meaning, to paralyze your voice, to break your identity before it fully formed. Because if he can't kill you, he'll try to convince you to kill your own purpose. But you didn't fold, you're still here. And that alone is a miracle. That alone is evidence of your authority, because survival wasn't by chance. It was divine. You carry something ancient, something holy, something powerful, and the kingdom of darkness has been watching you for years, waiting for you to discover it, waiting for you to rise, waiting for you to stop running from the weight of your calling and embrace the fire inside of you. Because when you do, every chain breaks, every curse dissolves, every demon flees. You are not weak, you are not small, you are not forgotten. You are chosen, and you are dangerous to the things that oppress, to the spirits that manipulate, to the lies that bind. Walk like it, pray like it, speak like it, because your authority doesn't come from man, it comes from the throne of heaven. And when you open your mouth with conviction, when you walk in purity, when you live with love, every demon takes notice, and every demon backs down. They don't fear who you pretend to be, they fear who you truly are. And that's why the battle has been so fierce. That's why your journey has felt unfair. That's why your presence shifts atmospheres, because you are walking divine disruption. And every demon knows your authority is not up for debate, it's destiny. You didn't ask for this. You never stood at a throne and demanded power. You were just trying to survive, to find peace, to heal. But something inside you kept pulling. You're deeper, deeper into warfare, deeper into awakening, deeper into the kind of authority no one explained, yet every demon recognized. You've walked through seasons where the silence screamed, where people abandoned you, where even prayer felt like it bounced off the ceiling. And yet, you kept going. Why? Because there was something inside you that refused to die. A fire buried, but alive. A knowing, silent, but loud in the spirit. A purpose invisible, but undeniable. And every demon could see it. See, the spiritual realm is not fooled by outward appearances. It doesn't care about your status, your bank account, or your reputation. It responds to authority, and yours was born in pain. It was carved in the night hours. It was sealed when you chose obedience instead of compromise. Not once, but again and again and again. Some of you think you're weak because you cry. Some of you think you failed because you're tired. But let me tell you something the enemy knows and hopes you never discover. You are a general in the spirit. You've survived attacks others didn't walk away from. You've endured trauma that should have made you bitter, but instead it made you holy. You've been betrayed so deeply that love could have died in you, but it didn't. Instead, it grew stronger. That's why you're terrifying. Because your authority wasn't given by men. It was assigned by heaven and confirmed by fire. And now, when you pray, things shift. When you worship, chains fall. When you walk into a room, hidden spirits start to panic. Not because of you, but because of who backs you. When you walk, the host of heaven walks with you. When you speak, angels are dispatched. When you kneel, thrones tremble. And when you believe, the entire kingdom of darkness has a reason to fear. Your life has been a battlefield, because your existence is a weapon. You don't just live, you pierce. You don't just walk, you take territory. You don't just speak, you declare war on lies. And deep down, you've always felt it. That unexplainable resistance before breakthrough. That odd heaviness when you're about to step into new spiritual ground. That random anxiety right after a major moment of clarity. It's spiritual backlash. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're doing something right. You're a threat, a living weapon, a walking contradiction to every assignment of darkness. And the enemy is terrified you'll finally realize it. This is why people betray you without cause. Why some friends grow distant the moment you elevate. Why relationships die when your spirit ascends. You think it's just life, but often it's war in disguise. Demons can't control you, so they try to isolate you. They can't break you, so they try to make you feel broken. They can't access you directly, so they whisper through people who are weak in spirit, hoping their rejection will confuse your identity. But you were never meant to be accepted by darkness. You were meant to overthrow it. The moment you stop asking, "Why me?" and start declaring, "Send me," is the moment the kingdom within you starts to manifest around you. Demons don't panic at believers who merely know scripture. They panic at the ones who live it, the ones who bleed purity, who carry righteousness like a sword, who weep in private but war in the spirit. You've been walking with this burden thinking it's heaviness, but it's not. It's weight, the weight of a mantle, the weight of responsibility, the weight of heaven resting on your shoulders. And with it comes authority that breaks a Tiamosperes. This is why random people feel threatened by you. It's not your personality, it's not your words, it's your spirit. It's too loud for the darkness that's been hiding in theirs. Don't shrink, don't apologize. Don't water yourself down to make the demons in others more comfortable. You're not here to fit in, you're here to cast out. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be set apart. You're not here to echo culture. You're here to shake kingdoms. And you know what? The enemy has already accepted your authority. He's just hoping you never will. Because the moment you embrace it, you become unstoppable. Not because of ego, not because of pride, but because of alignment. When your spirit aligns with heaven, your authority becomes visible in the spirit realm. Like a blazing sword, no demon dares to approach. You are not weak. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are trained. You are anointed. You are feared, not by people, but by the very things that once tried to destroy you. So walk boldly, speak with fire, pray like the warrior you are, and understand this truth. Your authority isn't based on feelings. It's based on who sent you. You didn't just survive the warfare. You inherited something because of it. Every scar on your spirit, it's a seal. Every tear you shed in secret, it's a scroll. Every night you laid awake asking, "Why me, God?" was a night heaven was marking your name for something far greater than comfort. You were being marked for dominion. And this is what most people don't understand about you. They see your humility and mistake it for weakness. They see your silence and think you're unaware. They see your setbacks and assume you've been defeated. But they don't see what the demons see. They don't hear the crack of thunder. When you step into your purpose, they don't feel the pressure in the spirit when you open your mouth in prayer. They don't see the legions that flee when your worship rises like fire. Because you're not ordinary, you're chosen, you're marked, you're dangerous, not because of you, but because of the one who lives in you. And make no mistake, the enemy knows who you are. He's watched you since you were a child, watched you survive what others would have drowned in, watched you resist temptation when it was custom made to destroy you, watched you worship with nothing in your hands but everything in your heart. That kind of obedience is terrifying. That kind of surrender is holy. That kind of spirit is a problem for hell. You don't need a title to be powerful. You don't need a platform to be anointed. You don't need followers to shift atmospheres. All you need is the authority already placed on your life. And that authority, it was forged in obscurity. While others were being celebrated, you were being crushed. While they were being applauded, you were being anointed in private. While they stood on stages, you were being broken in prayer closets, asking God if you were even seen. But heaven wasn't ignoring you. Heaven was hiding you, because what you carry couldn't be exposed too early. The weight would have killed you back then, but now you're ready. Now your roots go deep. Now your discernment is sharp. Now your compassion is real, because you've been crushed enough to understand pain and demons. They recognize that oil.c, there are levels in the spirit realm, dimensions of power, rank, and command. And what hell fears most is not a loud believer, but a mature one. The one who doesn't need a crowd to cast down a stronghold. The one who prays when nobody's watching. The one who fasts, not for applause, but for alignment. You're that one. You didn't choose the fire chose you. And instead of being consumed, you were refined. Instead of burning out, you came out like gold. Now, every demon assigned to your bloodline is frustrated, because what bound your ancestors breaks when it gets to you. What destroyed marriages, minds, and ministries in your family line hits a wall when it faces you. You are the firewall. You are the interruption. You are the turning point in the generational story. And that scares the enemy. He tried to silence you through rejection. He tried to humiliate you through public shame. He tried to discourage you with delay. But what he didn't expect was for you to become unshakable. Now you carry authority that can't be copied, because it wasn't taught. It was endured. It wasn't handed down by men. It was transferred through suffering, and it wasn't earned by perfection. It was gifted through surrender. The kind of authority you carry doesn't shout. It speaks, and the spirit realm listens. It doesn't boast. It bleeds quietly and breaks chains by presence alone. This is why strange things happen around you, why people manifest when you enter the room, why co-workers get uncomfortable even when you're silent. Why family members grow cold when you start to grow spiritually. You stir the spiritual atmosphere, and spirits don't like it. They can't stay hidden around you. They can't manipulate, pretend, or deceive, because your presence exposes, not by accusation, not by pride, but by the sheer light you carry. You've become a walking contradiction to darkness, and it's not just about what you say. It's about who you are becoming, because spiritual authority isn't in your vocabulary, it's in your nature. You don't command demons to flee just because you quote scripture. You command them because they see whose shadow you walk under. They remember that shadow. They remember the voice that said, "Let there be light." They remember the hands that broke their power at the cross. And when you open your mouth in alignment with heaven, they hear him again. That's why you've been targeted. Why distractions come right before breakthroughs. Why warfare hits hardest the closer you get to release. Because your authority is awakening. And when it does, territories shift. You were never meant to stay small. You were never meant to be quiet forever. You were never meant to be broken permanently. You were in training. Every loss was a lesson. Every heartbreak was a pruning. Every delay was a preparation. And now Now the anointing is no longer hidden. It's rising. It's expanding. It's breaking the yoke off of everything near you. You are not the same person who cried in confusion. You are not the same soul that begged for escape. You are not just a survivor of demonic attacks. You are a breaker of demonic cycles. A voice that terrifies hell not because you're loud, but because you're aligned. Not because you're perfect, but because you're covered. Not because you have status, but because you have authority. And that authority is recognized, even if you don't feel it yet. So walk with boldness. Live with intention. Speak like heaven is backing your every word, because it is. They never expected you to rise from the ashes. The demons assigned to your life thought they had you when everything started falling apart. Your friendships, your finances, your faith, they gathered around like vultures, confident you would never recover. But you did, and you didn't just recover. You resurrected with fire in your bones and light in your eyes. Because what they forgot is this: when God breathes on the ashes, they become altars, and now, everywhere you go, demons see an altar walking, a place of sacrifice, a living testimony, a walking contradiction to the darkness they tried to bury you in. They whisper your name in fear, because they know your prayers still shake realms. They still remember the last time you fasted, and the stronghold that snapped in the spirit. They know what happens when you get serious, when you tune out distractions, when you stop playing small and lean into your calling. They panic because your authority is not theoretical, it's experiential. See, chosen one, you've been there. You've battled depression and made it to the other side. You've wrestled with doubt and still showed up in faith. You've walked through betrayal and kept your heart clean. You've lost everything and didn't curse God. You praised him in the storm. That's not weakness. That's dominion. And dominion doesn't come from convenience. It's forged in the fire. And when you walk into a room, you don't just bring your personality, you bring that fire with you. That's why the room changes. That's why some people suddenly get quiet, why others get irritated for no reason. You didn't say anything, but your spirit did. It confronted every unclean thing hiding behind false smiles and polite conversations. Because when a chosen one steps in alignment with heaven, the entire environment responds. It's not charisma, it's not charm, it's not you, it's the God who walks in with you. You're not just a believer, you're a carrier of divine weight, a vessel of spiritual truth, a gatekeeper for heavenly assignments. And that's what terrifies the demonic. They can't intimidate someone who's already walked through the fire and didn't lose their praise. They can't shame someone who's already been publicly humiliated and came out wiser. They can't tempt someone who's died to themselves and risen with a new mind. You've become spiritually bulletproof, not because you're invincible, but because you're surrendered. And that surrender, it's your secret weapon. Because demons don't flee from pride, they flee from humility, saturated in heaven's power. And when they see you now, after all the nights of warfare, after all the mornings of groaning prayer, after all the rejection that tried to hollow you out, what they see is not a threat in your natural appearance. What they see is your spirit armored in the unseen. They see the fire surrounding you, the angels flanking your left and right, the mantle draped across your shoulders, the oil still dripping from your scars. You walk with something they can't touch, because it's not of this world. You have authority. And the thing about spiritual authority is this: it doesn't need to prove itself. You don't have to shout to shift atmospheres. You don't need a stage to cast out shadows. You don't need applause to stand in power. Because your authority doesn't come from people. It comes from God's appointment. You were chosen before you were qualified, marked before you were mature, assigned before you even understood your calling. And that's why the enemy hit you so early, because hell saw something forming in you that hadn't even manifested yet. They saw the child who would grow into a voice, the outcast who would become an Intersis, or the broken one who would learn to break chains instead of wearing them. They knew if you ever woke up to who you are, their control over your territory would end. And now, here you are, awake, aware, activated, and yes, the attacks have gotten stronger. The distractions have become more tempting. The warfare has grown more subtle, but it's only because the enemy is panicking. Because you're no longer who you were. You no longer fear the dark. You carry the light. You no longer cry over closed doors. You discern what wasn't from God. You no longer beg to be understood. You walk in quiet confidence, knowing that divine assignments are rarely crowd-approved. And now that you're here, now that you're finally stepping into your mantle, the question is no longer, am I really chosen? The question now is, how do I steward what I carry? Because with authority comes responsibility. You've been entrusted with more than you know. People look to you without realizing why, but their spirits recognize safety. Strangers open up to you, not because you're charming, but because your presence feels like deliverance. You've become the one people call in crisis, because your voice carries something ancient, something holy, something that makes demons back off even when you're just talking normally. This isn't accidental, it's prophetic, it's generational, it's strategic. God has made you a living answer, not just for yourself, but for others bound in darkness. And the demons know that. They know your words are weapons. They know your prayers carry weight. They know your very presence creates pressure in the spirit. So they'll try to distract you, try to make you feel unworthy, try to convince you it's all in your head. But the truth is undeniable. You are a threat, and the moment you own it, not arrogantly, but humbly, hell's schemes begin to crumble. Because your authority isn't loud, it's relentless, it's unshakable, it's rooted in obedience, and covered by the blood. So walk boldly, chosen one, speak with conviction, move with reverence, and remember this: you terrify demons, not because you're fearless, but because you know where your fear belongs, at the feet of God. And when you kneel before Him, nothing in hell can stand before you. You were never meant to blend in. From the moment you were born, something in the spirit realm shifted. A ripple spread through the darkness, because heaven had just deployed a disruptor. You were sent here to undo what darkness has built, to break cycles, to tear down altars of deception, to carry light into places people stopped believing light could reach. And hell has been trying to silence you ever since. But you didn't fold. You didn't disappear. You didn't give them what they wanted, your surrender instead. You kept showing up, bleeding but showing up, lonely but showing up, confused but showing up. And now, chosen one, your consistency in the shadows is breaking things in the spirit you can't even see yet. That's why it's been so hard. That's why the warfare increased. When you finally decided to pray again, why the attacks got more cunning. When you started cutting off distractions, why people started falling away the moment you got serious about your purpose. You're not crazy, you're climbing. And altitude reveals who was only comfortable with the old version of you. But don't mourn what couldn't climb with you. God is not taking people away. He's making room for those who carry kingdom. weight like you do. The people you were trying to fit in with, they weren't rejecting you. They were responding to what you carry, a spiritual authority they couldn't understand, and darkness they hadn't dealt with. Your authority made them uncomfortable. Your presence exposed their passivity. Your purity made them feel their compromise. But that's not your fault. You didn't choose to be chosen. You were assigned, marked, prepared, and now you're being revealed. And the more you walk in that revelation, the more hell trembles. Because when chosen ones accept who they are, strongholds start shaking. When you stop apologizing for your anointing and start using it, deliverance breaks out in places it hasn't touched in years. When you speak, things shift. When you pray, realms respond. You're not just a child of God, you're a warrior priest. And this earth has no idea what's coming, but hell does. That's why the enemy keeps trying to wear you out, to exhaust your spirit, to make you think your prayers aren't working, to distract you with petty emotions, fake friends, old wounds. Because if you ever fully wake up to who you are and what you carry, demons will lose dominion in every space you set foot in. And some already have. You don't even know how many. Spirits had to pack up and leave a room just because you entered with the presence of God. You don't know how many. Curses stopped working because you walked in with spiritual covering. You don't know how many people were on the verge of giving up until they met you. Chosen one, you are dangerous to darkness, and it's time to stop minimizing that truth. You've been through too much to play it safe now. You've survived too many storms to act like you're not anointed. You've buried too many versions of yourself too. Keep pretending you're ordinary. You are not ordinary. You are the interruption to every generational curse. The revival in every silent room. The answer to prayers your ancestors never lived long enough to see fulfilled. So no, this season of warfare is not random. It's targeted, because you're rising, and when chosen ones rise, principalities fall. They tried to kill you in the womb. They tried to silence you. In adolescence, they tried to distract you in your 20s. They tried to discourage you in your 30s. And now that you've caught the vision of who you really are, they are terrified, because it's too late. You've already seen too much. You've already come too far. You've already declared war in the spirit, and the earth is responding. Your dreams are shifting. Your discernment is sharpening. Your alignment is accelerating. This is your moment, not for clout, not for popularity, not for shallow platforms, but for kingdom impact. God is calling you to build what demons can't tear down, to speak what others are too afraid to say, to walk where others won't go, to carry glory into barren places and water dry bones with your worship. This isn't hype. This is assignment, and everything you've been through has prepared you for it. All the rejection, it taught you to hear God more clearly. All the isolation, it created space for divine downloads. All the heartbreak, it crushed the ego so the Holy Spirit could flow through your cracks. And now, what the enemy used to shame you has become your strongest weapon. Your scars, they prophecy. Your survival. It speaks louder than any sermon. Your story, it delivers without needing a pulpit. Because this world is not waiting for another polished performance. It's waiting for a chosen one who walks in raw, relentless, righteous power. And you are that one. You've been crying for clarity, and here it is. You are dangerous. You are divine. You are drenched in authority, and demons know your name. So stop second-guessing. Stop holding back your roar. Stop editing your obedience to make people comfortable. It's time to rise in the full weight of your calling. No more shrinking. No more playing small. No more apologizing for the mantle on your life. You were chosen for such a time as this. Now, stand tall. Walk boldly and speak with the authority heaven entrusted to you. Because your voice, your presence, your purpose is the sound of hell's collapse. If this message shook something deep in your soul, then it wasn't just for you. It was a reminder of who you are, and a call to war for who you're becoming. So don't keep it to yourself. Share this with another chosen one who's forgotten their fire. Subscribe to this channel if you're ready to walk boldly in your mantle, and drop a comment below saying, "I will not shrink," because your authority is real. Your light is rising, and every demon watching knows it. They're terrified, and they should be.